Will the Florida Panthers get revenge on the New Jersey Devils from a loss of just a few days ago? We'll find out that answer and a couple more right here on PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. I'm Andrew. Carmine with me, of course, as usual, and Mr. Bryan Leonard joining us to break down some great games here on a Thursday. We got some props, we have some best bets, and much more. Carm, good morning to you, sir. Which games did you pick for us today?
Morning. Yeah, it's a good slate of action, Andrew. We are going to do the second game of this Devils Panthers 2-game set that they're playing down in Florida. As you remember, they played on Tuesday night with the Devils getting the win in that one. Then we're going to follow up with the Preds and Oilers. We're going to do your prop segment where we hope that you give out some more winners because I'd like to plan a couple of vacations if possible. So just spit out those winners, Andrew. Then we're going to finish it off with the Islanders in Vancouver to take on the Canucks. We'll have a best bet segment where we'll give you some plays and let you know what we have up at WagerTalk. And I am making a statement here, Andrew. If anyone comes on the show, whether it's you or I or any one of our guests, and says, because the people have spoken. I read the comments yesterday. If anyone comes on the show and says, I absolutely love this game and this team, and then doesn't play the game or the team, I'm gonna bounce them, man, off the show. So that's what we're gonna do, Andrew. I hope you realize that, and you guys in chat know what I'm talking about. But with that said, we got Bryan Leonard here today, and Bry, Florida Panthers minus 140, the Devils plus 120 in this one. Bobrovsky did not start the first game between these two, but even if he did, I think the result likely would have been the same. Spencer Knight looked good in that one. It's showing Markstrom right now, but the goalies are not confirmed as of yet in this one. Tell me how you are attacking this one today.
Well, first of all, I firmly agree with your reasoning for that. There's been many times I've watched a show and like the other side, and this guy was so excited about this bet. He loved this bet, and it kept me off of a freaking bet. I won't give a name, but I think we know who it is. Also, is this... I was going through the schedule today, and I saw this game, this New Jersey, Florida game. Is this a makeup game for when the hurricane went through? I've never seen a team playing back-to-back games at the same position. Do you guys know that? Is this originally scheduled, or is this a makeup game for the turn? Or because I know Florida canceled one game, I believe, when the hurricane went through. So I don't know, just very weird. But in 5-on-5 play goal share, Devils enter play at 53.49, while the Champs come in at 51.56. Battle of current division leaders in the Atlantic and Metro. And as you mentioned, they had just played a couple days ago, and New Jersey wins that game 4-1. New Jersey's actually played very well on the road this year. They're 7-3-0 on the road. Very good team away from home. They end their 3-game trip in Tampa Bay, and then they got the next 4 days off before their next game. So I believe they'll come out with a good effort here. But I like the Panthers in this one. The Panthers are playing their 4th of 5 home games since returning to North America from the Global Cup sweep against Dallas. And that Tuesday loss to the Devils has been their only defeat in the month of November. Florida's had a home and home on deck with the currently unbeatable Winnipeg Jets. So you know the host wants to get their revenge here. Yes, the line is a little bit higher than what I normally like to play, which is why it's going to be my free play here and my free play on my site. But if this line goes down a little bit more, I think Florida's going to make my card tonight.
All right, Bry, what would a show be if you and I weren't going a little mano a mano in the first game of the day? And listen, I'm flip-flopping on flipping on my Tuesday statement. And my Tuesday statement, I took the New Jersey Devils in that one, and I said that I kind of hope the Devils win so I can come back with Florida in game two. But having watched the game and watching what a complete effort this Devils team put forth in that game, and they're playing extremely well right now. That I get it. Going into Florida and beating them two straight over 3 days is ultimately going to be tough. But I look at the number in this game, Andrew, and I see minus 140 on on the Panthers, and I think that that's essentially like a placeholder kind of number. And by that I mean the line's going to be minus 140. It could change if the Devils go to a different goalie. They go to their backup. They go to Jake Allen in goal. I think the line probably steams a little bit on the Panthers, but if it does, I would still come back with the Devils. This is the Devils team over their last 8 games that have allowed only 13 goals. They got shut out in 2 games. They lost a 3-0 game, a 1-0 game. They allowed 3 to the Canadians in a 5-3 victory, but they're playing extremely well. 1.63 goals allowed over the last 8 games. They're playing extremely well. And I have to believe it's going to be Markstrom in goal. And my thought on why I think it should be Markstrom in goal for the Devils is this. They play tonight. Then they're back in Florida for a Saturday game against Tampa Bay. And then they don't play again until next Thursday. Next Thursday, where they have Carolina. So plenty of time off. They're not going to run their goalies into the ground. But Sheldon Keefe's got them playing some very good defense right now. They're probably going to have to play much better than they did, and they played well in that game. They're going to have to play better to get the win, but I'm taking the plus 120 here. I don't think the line is going to go any lower on the Florida Panthers. If anything, I think if there's a goaltending switch where it's not Markstrom in goal, that you might get plus 125, maybe even plus 130 on the Devils. Maybe that doesn't happen at all. But I'm taking the Devils, Andrew, plus 120 in this spot. Brian and I are going mano a mano in this one. We'll wager a beer on this one for the next time I'm in Vegas in December, Brian, if you're all for that one. And then Andrew, you can be the tiebreaker here.
Guys, I don't really want to pick a side. I honestly don't. I'm going to be neutral, as Joe Ranieri always says on the NBA show. I'm going to be Switzerland. I'm going to avoid conflict. I'm just going to bet the total in this one. I do think there's some value on the dog, I will say, but I like the under here. I think this is a game where we do see really tight checking hockey. I know that everybody knows Florida for the talented team they have offensively, and man, when they are going, they are playing some fast hockey, and they have depth that people might not think. You look at their third and fourth line, you might not think those guys are goal scorers, but they create energy. They forecheck really hard. They kind of score those dirty goals, and that stuff can add up. But I think one thing underrated about this Devils team is they have a lot of 200-foot players. That's the difference between this Devils team this year and I think the year before this and the year before that was the fact that they were kind of playing open ice. And when the Devils have been at their best over the last few years, it's been when they were playing defensive hockey. You know, a lot of times I look at these expected goal stats or I'll look at the analytical numbers, but if you look at them for the full season, it can really skew how you feel about things because hockey players and hockey teams change every week or two. So I looked at the month of November. The Florida Panthers ranked number 24 in expected goals for this month so far. Obviously only a handful of games, but they certainly aren't the highest up there. And I think I look at this Devils team as well. They're only middle of the pack. And a lot of the times, you guys know me, if a team is playing the same team twice in a matter of a few days, if the first meeting goes under, I usually go over. If the first meeting goes over, I usually go under. But with the first one going under with a score of 4-1, I think this one could be a really tight checking defensive battle. We have two respectable goaltenders, even if we do see a backup out there. You know I'm a Jake Allen fan there, Carm, so I think he'll be just fine if he is the guy to be called out there. So I'm avoiding any type of tiebreaker here, fellas. I'm going with the under, looking for a defensive game. And I know a lot of times when you have some familiarity with each other, you know, you kind of have that film to go look at. It's not really too hard to have to break things down because you just played that team and you could have that animosity and kind of that motivation. But at the same time, you have the film to look at defensively. And for reasons like that, I'm going to hope they stay out of the penalty box, and I'm going to look towards the under and hopefully a low-scoring one. And I'll tell you what, guys, I hate watching unders. Like, sometimes I can watch them if it's a good game, and, I expect still an entertaining 2-1 game, but unders aren't fun. You're watching an over, you're cheering for goals. I don't know if I'll have this game on my TV tonight, but give me the under 6 into this game. And I think it's a good opportunity to tell everybody in the chat to comment below what your bet is on this game, side or total. We always appreciate your comments. We appreciate the positive ones more, but hey, if my props are on a good run, hey, I don't mind hearing it. If my props are on a bad run on the prop segment, I don't mind hearing it. Give it to me. We can take it. Just keep things classy, keep things respectful, but we seriously do appreciate all the likes and comments you guys give us right here on Puck Time. Carm, any further comments from you? And if not, tell us if you think the Preds are going to get on a little bit of a streak here. A tough game for them tonight against the Oil.
First of all, Andrew, I plan on not leaving the house for the next 7 days. And the only reason for that is the Swifties are in town. 5 Taylor Swift concerts. We have signs all over the place directing people how to get to the concert on our subways in downtown Toronto. You couldn't catch me in downtown Toronto if my life depended on it. But it's great for our economy. So God bless the Swifties who are in town spending money at our bars, at our restaurants, in our hotels, at the gift shops. Keep on buying. Don't pick up any Leafs gear while you're here. That stuff is just terrible. Andrew, I look at this game here and listen, the Preds just are underperforming. And the right guy to have the numbers for this, hopefully, will be Bryan on this. But so much was expected of this team heading into the season after the offseason they had, but it just hasn't translated into wins for them. Obviously, they're losing more games than they're winning. They're treading water and getting the occasional wins here and there until they can put it together. But I talked about on one of the previous shows is the noose getting a little tighter on their coach Andrew Brunet, and it very well could be. They can't keep losing games. They lose one I think in Colorado last time out. Now they get the Oilers, the Oilers. Picard is confirmed for tonight. Saros isn't as of yet. But this is an Oilers team coming off back-to-back wins. They had a big game in Vancouver, beating a Vancouver team who last year during the regular season just seemed to pound the Oilers. The Oilers got a bit of a revenge, winning in 7 games in the playoffs last year. But I think they needed that type of victory. But they quickly realized you can't take a minute off in any NHL game or a period off. And they did against the New York Islanders and almost paid for it dearly. Anders Lee with a couple late goals to send that one to OT before the Oilers won that one. If you had the Oilers in reg, you obviously hated that one. I think you get a complete effort from the Oilers here, a better defensive effort from them. And I think the Preds' way to get back into the win column is to play a better defensive game. And they're going to have to do it against the Oilers here. This total start at 6.5, and I see a couple 6.5s. If you can still grab it at 6.5, I would take the under. But those are disappearing, and you're going to be stuck with the 6. I would, if I looked at this as a 3% play on the under 6.5, I would look at it probably as a 2%, 1.5% on under 6. They still need 7 to beat you, but it lands on 6. You're obviously getting a push playing the under 6.5. As opposed to winning if you had the on the under 6, as opposed to cashing the full ticket with an under 6.5. I'm playing the under in this one. I think it's going to be a grinded out game, 3-2 type game, 4-1 type game. I think the Oilers ultimately get the victory in this one, but I like the under better in this one as far as these two tonight. Bryan, do you have any numbers for us that you can either back me up or dispute what I just said?
Go against them, Bryan. Go against them.
I've done that once already. I'm already feeling a little apprehensive about it. I hate going against either one of you guys. I will tell you, I will gladly trade you the yearly F1 race from Las Vegas for 5 Taylor Swift concerts. I speak for everybody in Las Vegas that doesn't have money on this race. Nobody wants it. They tear up the roads. They shut down the roads shut down the strip. It's the worst decision any of these guys have ever made. And we hate it every single year. Getting to the hockey, Nashville and Edmonton, the Preds, as you mentioned, they're playing a little bit better this season than they were earlier, but they're still not playing up to the expectations. 5-on-5, expected goal percentage of 47.38. Edmonton's 55.75. That's a pretty good edge there for Edmonton. Nashville has a minus 14 goal differential on the season, despite playing 10 of their 16 games at home. That makes it even worse than what they've done so far this year. They travel to Calgary to face the Flames tomorrow, so this is the first of a back-to-back game. They fall behind in this one. Who knows how many times they're going to send out the first and second lines. They've lost 4 or 5 lately, with the lone win coming against Utah. Offense has been the problem, scoring 10 combined goals in the last 5 games, and it's tough to win on the road at Edmonton when you're only scoring at that pace. Despite the fact that Edmonton has won 6 of 10 games as of late, they still own a -7 goal differential on the season. The Oilers have already beaten the Preds twice on the road, 4-2 and 5-1. They've had a tough November schedule. They played Calgary, New Jersey, Vegas, Vancouver, and just finished up with the Islanders. Edmonton heads on the road for 3 games after this contest. I like the Edmonton side. It's not the number I want to hit it at right now. I prefer that side. I'm hoping to get a better line. I like Edmonton in this game, but I'm not going to force it. So if I can't get the number I want, I'll be sitting out, but I do prefer the home team here.
All right, Brian, looking towards the home team, the Edmonton Oilers. And guys, some teams just don't change. And as you mentioned there, Carm, Anders Lee with those late goals for against the Oilers, sending that one to overtime. The good news is if you're the Oilers and you have McDavid and Draisaitl, you're probably going to win in overtime. But it wasn't really a good idea for them to blow that game the way they did. Some things just do not change. Look, guys, I think that at this point, I don't want to lay a number with the Nashville Predators, right? So I feel like if I'm going to back them, there's going to be spots where I'm going to try and catch them as a dog in certain scenarios. I played their team total against Utah. I think that was just a really good spot for them. Utah was, on the road trip, had a busy schedule for them, and Nashville was about as desperate as they possibly could be. And then it's been a little bit tougher since then, but they had that overtime loss against the Avalanche. But I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at the fact that, again, not only are the Oilers 2-0 so far this season against Nashville, which is pretty crazy. They're playing 3 games against the same team, and we're here on November 14th. But Pickard is 2-0 against the Nashville Predators. A lot of times people say in baseball, when I'm watching handicapping videos, for first pitch right here on WagerTalk or other shows, people talk about a pitcher, right, pitching against the team, and the batters might not be familiar with that guy, whether they only play, let's say it's the Blue Jays against the Dodgers, or let's say it's a team or a rookie, right? Well, this is very different. They're choosing to start Pickard for the 3rd time this season against the exact same team. You got Nashville, it's a rested team. And one thing I said about this Nashville team going into the season, guys, I was worried about their age. They're a little bit older. I'm not sure where they rank in the league as far as the age of their team, but I know they've got to be up there with Pittsburgh and some of these other teams. So when they're coming in rested, they get a few days. They get a few days to kick their feet back or at least have some good practices. This might be a spot where I want to back them. I'm going to do a half bet plus 1.5 and a half bet on the money line on the Nashville Predators. Not a play I love by any means, but a play I lean towards, and we'll see if it ends up making my card or not, but lean towards this Predators team. Just think that you get to see Pickard for the 3rd time. Nashville could hopefully take advantage of this Oilers team when they have a little bit of leaks defensively, and maybe they can get the job done in a big game. But playing the Avalanche and playing the Oilers back-to-back games, it's not an easy 2-game stretch for this Preds team, but I'll take a shot here on the dog.
It really isn't, Andrew. And I think, as the season progresses, the Oilers are going to get better at home. They haven't been good to start the season. 9 games, They are 3-6 at home to start the season, which isn't the greatest numbers. And I think a lot of it has to do with their starts in the first period. When they start bad, it turns out bad for them. 9 games, they've only held the lead in after 20 minutes in 2 of those. They've led after 20 twice. They've been tied after 20 twice. They've trailed after 20 minutes 5 times in the 9 games. And if that continues, they're going to lose games. They need to get off to a better start in the opening 20. And what better way again than against a Preds team that isn't playing well right now? And before they actually start playing well, you want to get on them. So we'll see whether they can do that tonight or not. I'm not sure if you have any props in this in that game, Andrew, but let's talk some props now. Give us 2 or 3 props you think are going to hit tonight.
Thanks, Carm. Yeah, just 2 player props here in the prop playbook segment, guys. We'll try and get back on track. We're desperate for a sweep. It's been a lot of 1-and-1s lately, so I'm desperate for a sweep. I have 2 player props, 1 plus money and 1 with some decent odds, but not nearly plus money. Before I get to these props, guys, I got kind of an interesting special going at WagerTalk.com right now. I've teamed up with Adam Trigger. He is, of course, going crazy with college basketball, touring around the country, it seems like, going to every gym he possibly can. He takes college basketball very seriously, and he has a few best bets out each day. And, of course, you guys know that I'm locked in with the NHL. So a lot of times people team up together with the same sport. We've teamed up with different sports. So it's kind of a buy one, get one. For $299, you can get Adam's college basketball, you can get my NHL for a whole entire month. Every single play that we both release across both sports, you can get for $299. You can get that at my page. You can get that at Trig's page. And hopefully we can have success on the hardwood and on the ice. So $299 for both of us for 1 month, college basketball and in the NHL. Starting things off with my very first prop, we're going to go with Thomas Chabot from the Ottawa Senators, defenseman for the Ottawa Senators, over 2.5 shots on goal. Guys, you're going to get a nice plus price on this one. And the updated number is plus 125. You know, I was looking at it earlier, and every book seemed to have a little bit of a different number on this one, but the updated consensus number seems to be plus 125. Philadelphia has been pretty leaky defensively, but Chabot has gone over this number in 4 straight games. It seems like the defensemen for Ottawa are starting to jump into the rush a lot more. They're playing a little bit more open. They're playing a little more free. Even though they're still taking care of things defensively, they're letting their defensemen activate a lot more. Let's not forget, Chabot is out there on the power play. He'll be a big part of the Senators team if they have success this year, and over 2.5 shots on goal is hitting a lot right now for him. All right, we got to take a player prop against Carmine's Buffalo Sabres. I know he doesn't have ownership stake, but hey, we got to have someone that's a fan of that team here. We're going to go Brayden Schenn from the St. Louis Blues to record a point, minus 115. I love these matchup prop guys, and I'm not, someone that always looks at this, but sometimes things just stick out. In 5 straight meetings for Brayden Schenn against the Buffalo Sabres, he has at least 1 point. In some of those matchups, he had 2 points. In some of those matchups, he had a goal and 2 assists. This is a pure matchup-based player prop here. And the St. Louis Blues, to put it lightly, they haven't been playing great hockey lately. They want to get back on track. And, well, Buffalo, we know what happened in their last game, 7-5 loss against the Montreal Canadiens. Let's look for some goals and some points for Brayden Schenn tonight from the St. Louis Blues. Trying to get a sweep tonight, guys. Let's do it. And don't forget about that great combo deal with Trigger I have going. 1 month of CBB and NHL for $299. Get that at my page or get that at Adam's page. Back to you, Carm.
All right, Andrew, let's cash some of those tickets. And speaking of cash, Brian, I'm going to talk about this next game and give my quick thoughts on it, and then send it over to you for your thoughts. And this is going to be a first period play. So the Canucks played the Calgary Flames just a couple days ago. And, I talked about on the show, I gave out Calgary first period on the money line plus 155, I believe it was. And they cashed the first period, but lose the game 3-1. And sometimes you can get out of a game early, and we got out of a game early with a 155 ticket. And my theory on that is basically, or the reason for that is that the Canucks just aren't starting well at home. They're now 1-5-1 in the opening 20 minutes at home. Only one win, only one lead after 20 minutes in 7 games now. They've trailed 5 times, and it's been a push once. The Islanders are a team that try and manage the first 20 minutes, 9 games on the road. They've led after 1 in 2 of them. They've trailed after 1 in 2 of them, and they've been tied after 1 in 5 of them. You're getting plus 135 on the Isles right now, and I want to take him. It's Varlamov is. I think he's a good goalie. It should be Lankinen for the Canucks. And until I see the same Canucks team who last year at home would come out in the opening 20 minutes and they would fire away and play extremely well, until I see that, I'm just going to keep fading them in the first period, getting plus money. And that's what I'm going to take here. I'm going to take plus 135, Bry, on the Islanders' first period. What are you doing in this game?
This has been a strange show. Normally, the two of you seem to play the favorites and like the overs, and I usually come in on the unders and more especially the underdogs. But I like the favorites on today's card overall. You got both teams here have fared pretty well in 5-on-5 expected goals. New York comes in at 50.33, the Canucks at 54.84. Pretty good sizable advantage there for the Canucks. This is the second of 5 straight road games for the Islanders, who dropped a 4-3 overtime game in Edmonton on Tuesday. And if you take a look at this club, they've really struggled with their special teams. I just talked about the 5-on-5, but they've been really bad on their special teams. They've got a 12.5 power play percentage, along with a 64.7 penalty kill percentage. They have been simply terrible when it's come to their special teams. Vancouver's in the middle of a 6-game homestand. They're off a 3-1 victory over Calgary. Canucks are 4-1 in November, with the only loss being to Edmonton. They lost that game 7-3. Nothing wrong there. Edmonton's an excellent team, but other than that game, they played great defense. They've only allowed 1 and 2 goals in their other games in the month of December. I have a hard time seeing that the Islanders are going to get on the board here for much. I like the Vancouver side. The line's a little bit too high. I think I'm going to use the Islanders team total under. I think that's the best way to play this one. They have not done well on their power percentages, and they haven't been especially good overall in the 5-on-5. So let me take the Vancouver defense, which is playing very well, and I'll take the Islanders team total under in this contest.
Brian, I like that. And, I think a lot of times people just focus on the team total overs, and because you can get better prices, you can get better numbers, but sometimes you kind of just are more so going against one team than betting on one team. You're not really saying the Canucks are going to do good stuff. You're more so saying the Islanders aren't going to do good things, taking a look at their under on the team total. Guys, sometimes you can watch a game and a team can pull off a win, and even though they won, they deserved better. And I watched that Vancouver Canucks game, all the way through. And I had an over bet in that one. It was a big play for me. And, I lost it. But I think that whether or not my over should have hit, I think that people should have probably had a good chance at hitting their team total if they played the Vancouver Canucks. They had a ton of chances in that game against the Calgary Flames. And I keep on talking poorly about the Flames defense, but guess what? The Flames goaltending has actually been decent. There were some big saves in that game. The Canucks coaching staff should actually be happy about the last game that they played. They moved the puck around. They created chances off the rush. Their power play was actually pretty good. That's hockey for you. I heard Steve Merrill talk about it on WagerTalk today. Brian, you've talked about it. Carmine and I have discussed it. Yesterday in the Carolina game against Utah, the expected goals were 7 to 2.5. Well, guess which team won 4-1? Not the team with the expected goal number of 7. And that's just hockey. That's how it works sometimes with goaltending and things like that. So where am I going with this? I do like Vancouver in this spot here. I think Vancouver will get the job done. And hey, Brian's saying we take favorites. This is a favorite that I like, Brian. So I think they get the job done. And Carm's right. They have struggled in the first period. There's no doubt about it. Last game, going into the dressing room, down a goal. I think that they have a good start to this game. But I'm going to go ahead and just take the team total over 3.5. So, Brian, you and I can both be winners here, man. Islanders to get 2 goals. I wouldn't mind a 4-2 or a 5-1. Anything of that nature works well for me. I think when a team is coming off a victory where they almost deserved better, they can build off that, because it's kind of like the opposite of coming in satisfied, right? If Vancouver would have beat Calgary 6-1, then, all of a sudden they're the best thing since sliced bread. But at this point, they're still not satisfied with that low scoring victory they had. So I've been preaching these team totals, guys. And the best thing about the team totals, it's not when you win necessarily, it's when you lose, because of the winning percentage you need to hit these compared to if you're laying minus 135 or 150 or 180 in every game. But I do think Vancouver gets to 4 tonight. So Carmen's pretty interesting, man. We got one guy looking for an under on the team, that's the dog, and one guy looking for the over on the favorite. So, hey, I wouldn't mind this working out for the both of us.
Yeah, I'm going to give both you guys like a minute or two breaks. You guys can have some water, because like when you're chalk eating weasels, sometimes that dust can get into your throats and cause you guys to cough up. But all joking aside, listen, I would rather have. I see some guys in the chat. I would rather have Sorokin in goal than Varlamov. It remains to be seen, but he is off a good performance against the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa. He won that. You look at some of the games. They lose 2-0 at Columbus, but he allowed 1 goal on 25 shots. The other one was an empty netter. If the team in front of you can't score goals, you're unfortunately the goalie. You're going to lose games. It loses to Florida in a 6-3 game. Florida is going to hang losses on a lot of teams this season. Win over Montreal, and then a couple tough ones against the Dallas Stars. Again, they get shut out by the Dallas Stars 3-0. He only allows 2 goals on 26 shots. If the team in front of you doesn't score, you're not going to win a lot of games. And this is the problem with goalies as a whole for the New York Islanders this season. So we'll see how this one turns out. If they can get some goals tonight, maybe they spring the upset. I'd be perfectly happy with 1-0 Islanders at the end of the first period. Cash my ticket. Go to sleep, and I'll let you guys watch the second and third periods and collect your wins in that one. So with that said, Bri, I'm going to go to you first. Give us a show best bet and tell us what you have up at WagerTalk.
Well, the thing I just spoke about with the Islanders, that's 2.5 right now, even money each side, or minus 110 each side. So we didn't mention the line, but yeah, it's a strange day for me, because I do play a lot of unders, or do play a lot of underdogs, and my best bet is an underdog today, and I also have a couple of favorites. These games are games that we didn't talk about on today's show. So I've got, I put it all in one package. Been on a pretty good run this week. Number 3 in the last 7 days, number 1 the last 3 days. Historically, number 1 overall in NHL hockey, starting to come around. So this is a good time to join us. So you get everything today. The 2 favorites and 1 underdog for $25 is up on the site right now. Went over the best bet earlier. That was Florida. I like the Florida side in this one. Carmine doesn't agree. But that's my best bet on the show, and I also use that as my free play for clients on the website. Looking forward to a nice day here of some favorites coming in for the most part. But I also handicap college basketball, and I think there's a lot of nice underdogs in college basketball today. Some of these teams have been bet up past where they should be. So if you're looking for college basketball and just for general, I think it's going to be a good underdog day there. But I think the favorites are going to have a really good day in the NHL today.
Ryan, listen, I don't want to step in front of your play on the Panthers, especially like if you like love them. So I just want to say that if you love them, then I'll be cheering you on. I don't have a play on the Devils, but my opinion on the show is that is taking the Devils plus money. Are you okay with that?
It's fine with me. It's a free play. It's the best play I've got on the show here. I do like it. I don't love it. I just like it.
Okay. I'm gonna get PuckTime love it shirts. It seems like I need something to replace Be a Goldfish, and this might be the one, Andrew. Um, this isn't one that I love. Okay, we're beating a dead horse on this one. But this is one at a big price, and I'm going to try and explain this one. I'm taking the Flyers. Now, originally, I would have said that this is sort of a goalie dependent game because I thought Urson was going to play in this one, but it's not going to be Urson in goal tonight for them. But you got to give Tortorella credit where credit's due in Philadelphia. He takes his young rising star, sticks him in the press box, and says, "Watch the game and learn something." And the fan base goes nuts because they want him in there. They want Tortorella fired because he sits a guy. But the best way to learn sometimes is to watch the game from the outside and see what's happening on the ice, and he's better for it. They played a really good game in Tampa Bay, getting that 2-1 victory. And Fedotov was obviously solid in that one, so he's given him a second chance. And if somehow they can put together another masterful defensive performance and he plays a solid game in goal, he's going to get some more starts and be a backup to Urson, who should be the regular starter on this team. You got Ottawa coming into this one off a big rivalry win against the Toronto Maple Leafs, coming home, and it just feels like a flat spot. We'll see if it actually turns out that way, but it does feel like a flat spot. I'm taking the plus 155 here. It was plus 145 until the goaltenders were announced during the show. It's now plus 155. I am still taking them here. Let's see if the good old Flyers for producer Dan can get the job done. 2 plays up this afternoon in Nations League soccer. A third one already won, so there's 2 plays left. Early one I went off this morning, and then 3 plays up in the NHL for tonight. You can get them all over on my page at WagerTalk. Andrew, give us a free play winner and close it out.
Carm, I have to call an audible on my show free play because I like the over 5.5 in the Stars and Bees game, and pretty much every single spot has 6 now as the number. And as we all know, in Bruins games and in hockey, that does matter. Going from 5.5 to 6 is a big difference. You know, asking for 6 goals versus 7 is actually a big difference in the world of hockey betting. So the one that I'm going to switch to, let's go for a barking dog. Let's take the Predators plus 150 against the Oilers. The Oilers can't be trusted defensively. We're going to trust Pickard to win 3 straight games against any team. I don't trust him very much. The Oilers still have a goaltending problem. Skinner is not the answer, and Calvin Pickard certainly is not the answer. Give me the Predators plus 150. And guys, if you're interested in my plays and packages, for right now, just get that great deal I have with Trig. It's a great one. You're going to get all of his college basketball plays, all of my hockey plays for 1 month for $2.99. You can get that at my page or his page. That's the best way to go. You'll get every single play instead of buying any plays individually. All right. It's fair to say